What's going on? It's Fist bringing you the news like I do. And I'm gonna do I was gonna do a couple of videos because a couple other people have inspired me to make some videos in regards to advanced warfare, like, you know, talk about the perks, talk about how the perk system relates to Black Ops 2 and the new advanced warfare. Um, I was planning on doing a lot of those videos, and I'm probably gonna do it tomorrow. But I wanted to get this one out of the way before tomorrow. I mean, obviously tomorrow's Sunday, so I'm gonna try to get this one done. But I was gonna post a video where I went off on the stream about this guy named Greg Reisdorf, the lead multiplayer developer for Sledgehammer. And if you got to see the stream, you get to see the unedited, unversed, the straight up how I felt about it right off the rip and how it related to you guys. I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, like, Fizz, why do you care so much? And the main thing here is that, as a consumer and you've been playing Call of Duty and you've been patronizing them for 9 years straight, and you're one of the people that are a part of the casual community who've been patronizing them, that have a YouTube, that have a Twitter. Not all the majority of people who purchase Call of Duty don't really care to have a voice. I mean, they buy the game if it is what they want it to be. If the game is fun for them, then they'll play it. If they don't want to, they don't sit there and make all these videos. Like, I'm going out of my way to like make a point here, and that's really why I'm making these videos. The point is that I like to have fun with other gamers who like to play the game like I do, but they don't voice, or they don't have all these Twitter followers, and they don't have all the subscribers, and they don't have a voice. And so, like, I'm out on an island. I've always been on an island for the majority of the people who play this game. So I just think I'm doing due diligence in like a checks and balance situation, and to point out the fact that if you are a fan or a fanatic, short fan of Call of Duty, then you should be righted. You should have a voice in some sense. I know there's a couple guys, there's a lot more people that are coming out and making videos, and I go over to your guys' video and I make a comment, I retweet it, because I think, if you're the casual community and you're watching this video and you don't have nothing to do with social media, and you're seeing your game that you all these years having fun with is turning into garbage, then you should get into social media and say something. It doesn't matter if it's new. Just tweet it to me. I'll retweet it, or give it a like or whatever, because that's what I support. I support what is right. And so the reason I'm making this response to this article, and I'll leave the link in the description below, is because I can't believe how ludicrous and disconnected this developer is, the lead designer of Sledgehammer. I cannot relate to. I can understand somebody like, I mean, the other guys out there. They sit there and they'll dodge questions, and they won't say what the real truth is. And then when you get an article like this, you can read into it and you finally see, who this game is made for, what the misconceptions are. And for me to come out and say, listen, if you're a true Call of Duty fanatic fan and you're a casual player, this game isn't made for you. And the only way to make things right in this Call of Duty franchise that you've been patronizing over the years is not to buy this game. And so I want to give you this article, and you can read it how you want to read it. And in the next couple of videos, I'm going to show you more. I'm not going to call it evidence, but just show you like how much they really don't care, and it's just Black Ops 2 with an EXO DLC, and it's truly sad. you know, and it doesn't fit the frame of the game. It doesn't fit the definition of their own developer saying these things. So I'm gonna read some of this. I'm gonna read some of this to you, and then I'm gonna dissect it for you and tell you this is coming from the lead multiplayer designer at Advanced Warfare, Greg Reisdorf. He did a interview on GameStra or whatever. I'll leave the link in the description below. This is how do you reinvent Call of Duty all over again. So this guy, whoever was doing this interview, I find his name down here. Mike Rose is a genius, editor or reporter or whatever. I mean, he got this guy to literally make himself expose it in a right way where, you know, a real Call of Duty fan would see this and, you know, shine light on something like this. And you guys should look at this, because if you're patronizing this game, you should feel the same way I'm feeling. You should feel jaded. You should feel like these guys are straight lying to you, and there's no consistency in anything that they say. So they're not gonna say anything that's good in the beginning. Why would they say it at the end? And it's not benefiting us no way in any shape or form. So I'm gonna read this article to you. Sledgehammer Games has a tall order on its hands. With Call of Duty Advanced Warfare due for release this November, this California team is not only looking to reinvent the behemoth Activision franchise in the same way that Modern Warfare did all those years ago, it's also the studio's very first go at building its own Call of Duty, having previously worked alongside, note, Infinity Ward on Modern Warfare 3. And that's very important news. So that's his opening statement. That's from Mike Rose. We ask ourselves, and this is a statement from the lead developer multiplayer, Greg Reisdorf. He says, we ask ourselves, what is core? In the statement. Now listen, these are not my words. These are the lead developer's own words that Mike Ross asked some very, you know, he asked great questions that, you know, he led this developer down the path to expose himself. And it's funny because at the end of the article, Mike Ross says, so this is what you are, and they admit it. It's like I just couldn't believe this article. So they say so the first opening statement that Mike Ross printed down on his article is that he says, this is quoting Greg Reisdorf, we ask ourselves, what is core? Okay? Lead multiplayer designer of Advanced Warfare, Greg Reisdorf says, Advanced Warfare, what makes Call of Duty what it is? So you're saying, what is core? What makes Call of Duty what it is? So whatever makes Call of Duty what it is that's the core of the game. That's what he's saying in that sentence. And we realize that gunplay engagement is where the game is. So gunplay engagements. Now listen to that sentence. First of all, that's very interesting. Gunplay engagements is what makes Call of Duty what it is. So therefore, that is the core of Call of Duty, right? This article is very deep, and I read it a couple times to dissect it for you. You'll read right through it, and you won't catch it. But I just dissected the first part of it. He's defining their own personal multiplayer level designer, lead multiplayer designer. He's the man. Says the core of the game is gunplay. That's what the game is, right? Right. And he says, if we can make those engagements more interesting and be able to add more skill to those engagements without breaking it, how do you even after the franchise like Call of Duty without breaking that core? Surely it's an impossible, thankless task. But how do you even alter a franchise like Call of Duty without breaking that core? Surely it's an impossible task. How now? Mike Ross is posing the question. It's very ingenious. This guy is a true Call of Duty fan because he says, how can you alter Call of Duty without altering the core of the game? Because the core is the game, and whatever the game, gunplay is the game, and that is the core. So how can you alter that? Is what he's asking in this article. And I'm going to get to it. It gets very interesting down here. And I went off on it earlier on my live stream, and I didn't want to sit there and post that from the live stream because it didn't make me seem like I was irrational and I was just bitching. But I'm breaking it down for you so you can understand exactly where this is coming from. So it goes on and it says, and you can see it right here. I got my little screen, and you go look at the link and read along with me. It's very hard. It involves a lot of arguing with people and a lot of debate, he adds. It may seem simple to people, but there's a huge implications, my bad. My mouth is dry from talking, blah, 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 blah. But there's a huge implication to anyone who has spent hundreds of hours playing the previous games. So listen, he's already laying the groundwork, saying that there's a huge implication to the previous fans who played hundreds and hundreds of hours of hours of Call of Duty, of playing a core game of gun and gun. He's already told you it's gun and gun gameplay, but in order to change that, it's very hard to do that. So he's setting you up. He's already setting them up for, okay, we're about to screw this game up, is basically what's going down. So it's very hard, and it involves a lot of arguing with people and a lot of debate. He adds, it may seem simple to people, but there's a huge implication to anybody who has spent hundreds of hours playing the previous games. And then having to switch to a new game, it's a big deal. How do you say that the new game is Call of Duty if you're switching to a new game? How can you say having to switch to a new game, it's a big deal? In the previous sentence, we just said that Call of Duty was the core game. And so how is the name Call of Duty on a new game? The core, so this is it's like a deceitful web of lies to the casual community, like saying we're going to let you down easy. We know you guys are playing this game this way, but we're going to change the game on it. It's going to be a new game, but we're still going to put the Call of Duty title on this game. Now, it'd be fine if it was just Advanced Warfare, but it's not. It's Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. And then you're going to see tomorrow when I get deeper into it, and I'm going to cover it more as I go along. I know this is going to be a long video. So it's just like hanging out with Fist, going over a vlog of whatever. You can just hang out with me. That's fine. So, it's a big deal. You know what I mean? So, moving right along. If they have new things, like I said, if they have new things crop up and they think, well, this worked this way before and now it only works this way, those are issues. So they're saying that, okay, it's a new game, and if we have things that work this way, but now they work different in this game, then the old people who used to, or not old people, but the people who used to play the other 9 Call of Duties are going to have a problem with those things changing in the new game. But it doesn't matter because it's a new game, so that should be a cancellation. It shouldn't matter if you say it's a new game and then you're contradicting yourself by putting Call of Duty on it, but you're saying you're going to put stuff in there that may be similar, like for example, Cold-Blooded, and it's not the same as being invisible or whatever. That's what you're saying. It pisses off a couple people. It might make them upset. It's just like it's irrelevant because it's a new game. So whatever you're putting in there, it's not gonna seem like that because it's going to come out like a lie and people are just going to be pissed off because if you're saying it's Call of Duty, then it should seem the same. But if you're saying it's a new game, then say it's a new game and take the Call of Duty name off of it, right? So this article is so revealing, and then you just keep reading it, and it gets more ridiculous and more ridiculous as you go on. And those are the issues, says the dev. But at the same time, we are making the game we want to make. Now that's a shocking statement itself. So this Deersendorf, whatever his name is, I've already forgot it. I don't care because to me it sounds like the guy is just totally disconnected to what is going on, and he's just jumping on the social train, and that's where the CEO and everybody's just their heads are stuck into what is going on now, and just disregarding what has put them there in the first place. I mean, obviously, if you have games like Street Fighter and games that have been out like Smash Brothers, other games that Counter-Strike Go. I mean, these are games that have never changed over time, but made little changes and still have a huge following. So this whole thing, like, we got to jump on the media train and try to be like League of Legends. And it's just a different format, and you're trying to cram a circle in a square, and it just doesn't work. And at the same time, you're harming the whole complete audience of people who enjoy this game for fun. And you're trying to make it be something that it's not. And I'm gonna go on and explain how this is, So they said that, so first of all, they said they're not gonna listen to nobody. They're gonna make the game the way we want. So, he's getting a little bit more, controlling and, making a stand at what they're gonna do. First off, he said that the Call of Duty is what it is, and the core of the game is what the game is, and whatever that is, or gunplay is what that is, and that is the core of the game. Then he goes on and says, well, we're going to change the game and make it a new game, and now he gets into the third sentence where he says, well, we're going to make the game the way we want to make the game. So straight out saying that we're not listening to anybody who patronizes us or pays us money, and we're going to do what we want to do, and that's the bottom line, right? That's what he's saying to this point. So and if we try to please everybody, we'll please nobody. So if we try to please everybody, we will please nobody. So therefore, we're going to make the game we want to make, right? Now remember this statement. Listen to this. So a lot of these decisions are made knowing that all those other things exist out there, and knowing that the previous games had it certain ways, which is very vague, I mean, obviously they're referring to, certain things that are irrelevant to the story and guidelines of Call of Duty. I wish this guy would come out and just, be honest with us. And it's so much fishtailing and lying in this article. It just makes you wonder. There's no consistency there. So if a guy's going to tell you a lie in the beginning, and then at the end he wants to buy you the game, then he's lying at the end of the game. So why would you patronize him and buy this game when they said they're not making the game for nobody, and that if we try to please everybody, we'll please no one, right? That's what he's saying. They're not listening to anybody. They're not gonna make. So when they say they listen to the community, obviously they're saying they're not listening to the community, right? That's what he's saying. So as you would expect, even when the Sledgehammer team was working alongside Infinity Ward, so when all those people were on Twitch and Twitter and saying, oh man, Modern Warfare 3 was terrible. Well, mind you, Sledgehammer worked alongside with them to create multiplayer. So if you're going to hate on Modern Warfare 3, then how could you say, based on history of gaming and track record of business or doing something, or somebody, they check your credit and they know that, okay, this guy's a worthy person, we can lend him some money. Okay, if this team of people made a crappy multiplayer game, what makes you think they're going to make a great multiplayer game for Advanced Warfare, right? I mean, that's only the right logic that we could follow here. So, thinking about that, what we do, the new team was thinking about what they would do to the Modern Warfare 3 to make it their own, basically, right? From the very beginning, we were just figuring out, well, what else could we do here? Well, obviously, maybe try and listen to the community that mostly patronizes your game. That might work, but instead they just flat out told you that we're not going to listen to anybody. We're going to make the game we want because it's not going to please anybody. Right? Isn't that what they just said? So what could we do different? So they just were sitting around and out of a magical dust and whatever. Reisdorf says Modern Warfare 3 development team, because there's the next game that's going to come up. So what you're thinking, well, what else can we do? Yeah, like I said, you can listen to the community. How about trying that? What did we leave on the cutting floor? What did we leave on the room? What did we leave? What did we leave on the cutting room floor that we could do now with more time or resources? So I'm going to cover this tomorrow, but in a nutshell, in 3 years of development, I'm going to come deeply tomorrow. In 3 years of development, in a nutshell, they took the Black Ops 2 philosophy of gaming, the PIC 10-13 system, the perk system, and added the exosuit. That's all they did. That is Black Ops 2. It's called Black Ops 2 Advanced Warfare. It's an exo DLC game is what it is. That's what they did in 3 years. And I'm going to cover that deeply tomorrow. So there's always that kind of stuff, and it's constantly being thought of. That's right, out of the gate, 2 months into development, we said, hey, let's try something crazy, like crazy jump stuff. And it's now full feature within the game. So, let's go back to the beginning. Let's try jumping stuff. We're not going to listen to nobody. We can't please nobody. Therefore, we're going to make the game we want to make. Back it up further in the paragraph. What did he say? What makes Call of Duty what it is? Right? Isn't that what he said in this paragraph? What makes Call of Duty? What makes the game what it is? What makes it the core? What makes Call of Duty the core? And that is gunplay, gun-on-gun gameplay. Right? That is the essence. So if we were to look at Call of Duty, even if we were to make Call of Duty a futuristic first-person shooter, and that is Call of Duty, and that is what Call of Duty is, then why is exo jumping abilities the lead portion, the centerpiece of a Call of Duty Advanced Warfare? Why is it the center focus of this game? I thought you just said, isn't this what Deersdorf and Reisdorf just said in the beginning of this paragraph? Didn't he say the core of Call of Duty was gun-on-gun gameplay? You can go read the article. I'm not saying this. It's in the link in the description below. Aren't you the one saying the core of this game is gunplay? So why did we change the total 3-year focus on EXO? So it took you 3 years to figure out, okay, jump this way, we got to program it, this guy does all this, does that. I mean, you guys spent 3 years on developing an exosuit system that you ran out of time for the ideas of how to match the gunplay with the exosuit. So you just slapped on Black Ops 2, which the perk system does not match the abilities of the gameplay. And I'm going to cover this tomorrow. I was going to cover that before that, but because this article came out, it was like an eye-opener. And it should be an eye-opener for all of you out there who patronize this game. All 20 million of you who don't have a YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and all that. This game isn't being made for you, the people who pay the money. All right, so let me move along here. We said, hey, let's just try something crazy, jump stuff, and now it's full feature within the game. Normally, the first couple of months after a project's over are kind of experimentation time, and people just go crazy to find something that works in there. and that we are able to take and really iterate on. A big fucking deal, you know. It's just lies, is what it is. Sledgehammer is hoping that the new exoskeleton abilities, which allow players to jump, dive, slide all over the place. And it's funny how Mike Rose puts this in his comments. Like, he knows it's going to be a problem. Sledgehammer is hoping the new exoskeleton abilities. This is funny how he says this, which allows the players to jump, dive, and slide all over the place, will successfully find a balance between new angles for Call of Duty and keeping that familiar feel intact. And he's being generous. The guy wants to keep his job. He don't want to tell the. I mean, he's saying it in a nice way. When a guy says jump all over the place, it kind of sounds, okay, this game's going to be ridiculous in a nutshell is what he's saying. Advanced Warfare is also one of the first Call of Duties to really begin built with a esports. Now listen to this. Now this is crazy. Advanced Warfare is also one of the first Call of Duty games really being built with esports in mind. Just wait until you listen to the rest of this shit. Advanced Warfare is one of the first Call of Duty games to really being built with esports in mind. Didn't Reisdorf just say in this article that we had to deal with people who played tons and tons of hours before? We made a new game. We're not going to listen to nobody. We're going to make the game the way we want to make them. If we try to make this game, these are not my words. They're his words. If we try to make this game for some people, or we try to make this game, what did he say? I'm going to go back and read this. Oh, if we try to please everybody, we'll please nobody. Well, then in the very next sentence or article, paragraph, this game, we're not listening to nobody. We're going to make this game specifically for people who are what is going on today, and that is social media. If you, for example, if you're one of these people in the social media who have thousands and hundreds of thousands of botted followers, and you got people who bot, whatever. I mean, 2014 is the year of the bot. Let's get that out of the way. I mean, obviously, corporations don't realize this. So you have people who are fanatic followers of people who play this game a certain way, esports, and they bot these people up. Bot. YouTube, bot. Twitch, bot. MLG TV, bot. Twitter, bot. Facebook, bot. Everything on the internet is botted by fanatics. So I don't blame the developers for not knowing that. They're in there sitting like this, making the game. They don't know no better, right? So how can I hold them responsible for that? But at the same token, man, it's like there's people out there like we're trying to give them constructive criticism. You wonder why since Black Ops 1, the total number of units sold has been going down, right? It doesn't matter if there's 100,000 people watching UMG or MLG or whatever, XYZ. That's not translating to sales. For all we know, those are botted views. I mean, people want to see them in a certain position. So you have corporations who have an incentive to buy, whether they are tied into this stream, whether it be advertising, whatever name tag or plug they got in there, they pay for these views to be pushed in that direction. This is all tied into multi-level marketing. So anyways, I wouldn't be surprised if Call of Duty's behind it. You know, I don't understand. Like, I guess they see it as like, why spend millions of dollars on an NBA ad when we could sit here and pay to have certain people, you know, push in marketing views this way, and it looks like, there's hundreds and thousands of people watching these streams when there's not. I mean, it's Coney 2012 is what it is. So anyways, moving right along. Like I said, their whole focus now is this Reisdorf did a 360 in this interview. He said they weren't making the game for nobody, that if they try to please anybody, they can't please anybody. But now this game, all of a sudden, this new game is being made specifically with esports in mind. Okay? It's not over yet. Leaving a question as to how exactly you take it already teetering gameplay balance and throw specific competitive play elements into the mix. A lot of it's making sure we know what esports community is interested in. Now, didn't you just say that we're going to make the game we want to? We can't please anybody. We won't please them. We're not listening to anyone. So now, all of a sudden, you're basing your whole entire game, not your whole entire game, but a portion of the advice that you're getting in this game is going to skew this game on a moment's notice from a person who purchases this game for $60 that has no connection whatsoever in the social media for this game. That's what you're basically telling me. If you're a casual, patronizing consumer of the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, you have no way of having your voice heard. And if somebody specifically in esports says that we can build features to help them, what is it? No. Esports leaving questions of how exactly. A lot of it's making sure to know what esports community is interested in, so we can build features that are specific to them. So, like I said, you want something to change in the game, it's not happening. They want something to change in the game because they take everything out of this game and they have specific rules. And if they decide to change the game, then those weapons or anything that's in this game is changed specifically for that style of gameplay, esports. It totally affects everything that you as a casual player play with no regards. Like, your purchase is irrelevant, and we don't care what you think about, we don't care about your opinions. If they say something needs to be fixed and it affects you, sorry. Your voice is irrelevant. We didn't make the game for you. He's saying that right there in this article. So why would you support this Call of Duty game if they're going to do that to us? That's what I'm saying. I'm not sitting here hating on the game or hating on this and hating on that. I'm saying that everybody should have, the majority of people who purchase this game should have the biggest point of view of this game. If you want to make a specific, here's what I don't get. You're doing all this, now I'm talking specifically to Activision. Why would you make this game knowing that it cannot support itself for this community? Do you think it's going to bridge over time and everybody's going to play Call of Duty this way? I got a news flash for you. Nobody has 70 hours. Every person in America who plays, and specifically, they play this game to have fun. That's why you had 30, 40, 60 million units sold. You're down to 20 million units, and that was double the amount of money you spent on marketing to get to that point. Are you going to spend even quadruple that point to get to that, to support this idea that you think is going to bridge into the next generation of the way this game is played? The reason why people play Call of Duty is because it's a basic arcade military shooter that everybody can pick up and play and have fun with. Isn't that what Deisendorf just said, or Deisendorf? He said the core of the game is gunplay. If you don't have gunplay in it, it's not fun. Anyways, so moving right along. This game isn't made for you. So, and it even gets worse. I know this is a long video, but this takes I want this to be specifically clear what is going on here. And this article exposes that whole thing. This game is not made for the 20 million people who buy this game. This game is, and I'm being generous, this game is made for 0.002% of the total population who purchases it. There's probably another 5 zeros out. I'm being generous. Of 10,000 total MLG players, if that, who played the game. So moving right along here, a lot of it is making sure we know what the community is interested in, so we can build features to help them. Answered Reisdorf in quotation marks. We listen to their feedback, not yours, not the casual person who buys this game, their feedback. Like I said, it's going to affect your style of game. It just comes out of the blue like a hurricane, and all of a sudden you don't expect it, and then there's no weather report, and you lose your house, and you got to adjust to it and fix the property and blah, blah, blah with no warning. We listen to their feedback. We want to provide them with support, but just as much as anybody else. I mean, come on. This is a complete lie. When you can't make the game for two different groups of people without it not being the same for everybody. Do you understand? That is a false statement. We listen to feedback we listen to feedback and want to provide them, esports, MLG players, with support, but just as much as everybody else. You cannot change the game for them and have it not affect the total community who plays the game. That's why people just get up and leave. They don't have social media. See how false the statement is? See how disconnected this guy, Reisdorf, is just exposing himself and what is going on at Activision, and why Eric Heisberg and the chain of command does not know why they keep having to spend more money for their game to be successful, because they don't listen to the people who make the game. I mean, finally, Ed Boon, Midway had to go in bankruptcy, and Ed Boon fortunately got picked up by Warner Brothers, realized that all he had to do was make Mortal Kombat 2 with 3D backgrounds, and that was it, a 2D game. And he's back on track. I mean, Mortal Kombat X looks phenomenal. I mean, we're talking this guy's been around for 20, 30 years plus. He made an amazing comeback. And this guy is a complete idiot. He does not know what's going on. And I'm sorry if that offends him, but it's true. You cannot make a statement like this. You cannot say we listen to the feedback of MLG and esports and we provide them with support, but it's just as much as everybody else. You can't. That's not a true statement. If you change a weapon, like an MTAR, and say, okay, too many bullets. For example, there was a weapon in Black Ops. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. There was a weapon that was, I think it was the MTAR or some weapon. It was a burst weapon. I forgot what it was called. There was a burst weapon that was in Ghost, right? And so in order, I forgot what the burst weapon was. It was like it looked like an MTAR. I forgot the name of it. But it was a 3-round burst weapon, and it killed in a couple, like a 1 burst or 2 bursts. I forgot the exact amount. It killed in 1 burst, right? So killed in 1 burst. Because if it hit you in the headshot, or the bullets were compacted and they hit you at long range. So MLG said that that weapon was too powerful. So they reduced the damage on the 3-round burst, and the bullets spread out. And what had happened is that Activision said to the general public, well, if you want to play ground war domination and the big maps, 9v9, multiple targets, okay, then you have to buy an Xbox One or a PS4. Now, you buy this game to play ground war, and you pay for the game just like everybody else. Probably MLG esports guys don't even pay for their game. And you're sitting there using this MTAR weapon, I forgot what it's called, and you're trying to shoot this guy. Now, mind you, a burst weapon is for long distance assault rifle. So when you're on a large map and you're shooting and you're like, drah, drah, the bullets spread so far apart on a long map, and there's no damage on them. So you totally ruined that weapon for everybody else. But you took it out because esports said it was too powerful. The fact is that they only play on 3 maps, 2 guns, and they're at close range. So of course the weapon's going to be powerful. But for the rest of us who play on big maps and like to use that weapon, because you changed it for them, we listened to their feedback, you ruined that weapon and you changed the complexity of the game because of what they said. So therefore your statement cannot be true just as much as anybody else. It's a lie. This whole article is a lie. You can go read it. Alright, and then get to the end. It says, casual gamers are the majority of our audience. Here we go. We're setting, we like you, but we like the 20 million, 25, well, the 20 million that purchase goes. We like you. We see the numbers going down, so we're assuming that it's the military first-person shooter nobody likes anymore, which is far from it. You look at Smash Brothers, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat X making a comeback. Games who took their idea, the Big Mac combo, #1 at McDonald's that's never changed, and made it better, simplified it, increased the graphics. You know, if Dorkendorf listened to his own advice, what is Call of Duty? Call of Duty is, game is what it is, and what it is, what the core of that game is gunplay. So you completely made this game an exosuit. You spent 3 years developing the exosuit and how it can be incorporated to MLG esports, rather than taking the classic military first-person shooter, what made Call of Duty what it is, and focus on what this game is about, is gunplay. You slapped the Black Ops 2 pick 10 system, added 3 more picks to it, and you slapped it on the exosuit because you ran out of time, or it was just a terrible idea and you just ran wild with it, and before you knew it was like, oh, we can't test all the perks out. Sorry, but I'm going to cover that tomorrow. So, to finish this ridiculous, out of touch developer all the way to the top of Activision, to just listen to how ridiculous the statement is. Casual gamers are the majority of the audience. And so, which is a lie. He doesn't care. And obviously, I mean, it's kind of like slapping us in the face. You know that is the majority of your audience. But what the statement is saying is that we don't care. And that the game is built for them, he notes. But, and here's the big but the game is also built for esports. Because at the end of the day, now listen to this. You could just take out all what I just said. Casual, you could take this part out. And you can read this yourself. You could take out casual gamers are the majority of the audience and the game is built for them. You could just take that out. The way the sentence should be started is the game is built for esports because at the end of the day, and this is his own words, after the statement I told you to just delete, it has to be a competitive game. It has to be a competitive game. Now this is the thesis, this is the premise of his statement. At the end of the day, we made this game for esports because it has to be a competitive game. If it's not competitive, that means it's not balanced. If this game was balanced, Mr. Deisendorf, Dorkydorf, dumbass. If this game was balanced, then why is esports rules different from the game that you've built? Period. If that were the case, why don't you build this game with 3 weapons, 2 maps, and make it esports MLG rules out the gate? If it has to be competitive, and then it has to be balanced, then why don't you make it that way out of the gate? That means no one's having fun. So he's saying, because at the end of the day, if it has to be competitive game and it's not competitive, that means it's not balanced. That means no one's having fun, and it's not going to be around very long. This is the most ludicrous, psychotic, disconnected statement I've ever heard out of a developer rationalizing the development and focus of this game. Do you hear the statement? Let me read it to you again. Because at the end of the day, it has to be a competitive game. If it's not competitive, that means it's not balanced. That means no one's having fun, and it's not going to be around that long and very long. First of all, there's never been a Call of Duty that's ever been balanced. So there's holes all up in your premise, okay? There's never been a balanced Call of Duty. You can't make a balanced game for 0.0002% of the community and then the other 99.99999 of the community. You can't do both. You cannot make the game for them and expect it to be balanced. And how is it going to be fun for neither of them? If the game isn't one way or the other, then both of us are not having fun. Do you see how ludicrous this statement is? Like, you can't have the game this way and this way. It can't be full because it's one game. And if you change something in the rules for them, then it changes for us. If you change it for us, then it changes for them. Or they just take it out of their rules. So who are you? You say you're making it for esports, but you just slap all this stuff on and you're just like, oh, it's a collage and it's a goulash or whatever, and you just go ahead and play it. But we're gonna, whatever they say and they do, we're gonna do it for them. And saying this game has to be competitive to be fun, and that statement alone is ridiculous. What about Call of Duty 4? What about Modern Warfare 2? What about Black Ops 1? Wasn't those games fun without being competitive? I mean, tell me, am I out of my mind? This guy does not know what he's talking about. He cannot differentiate between social media and how that operates and how it intertwines into the community of Call of Duty. He doesn't understand that the majority of the people who purchase Call of Duty are not all esports pro people, and therefore his focus should be on the total population who patronizes the 450 people who work out of the 3 studios in Call of Duty and give these people their livelihood. And they don't focus on none of that. The only people that are benefiting from this whole thing is MLG.TV and all the sponsors, and Activision's left out there holding themselves, in the crotch, and they got nothing to show for it. They are getting taken to the hole, and all the people that are in the media, in the social media, are controlling that, and they're just going along with it, and they think that's going to translate into sales. I mean, you're getting trolled. You're getting bot trolled. You're getting taken to the hole. These guys are manipulating the developers of Call of Duty, and like they're manipulating a $1 billion company. They're making games specifically for a super small portion of the community for everybody to benefit but them. Like, Activision's the only one that's not benefiting from this. Their unit sales, I mean, I always see everybody on the Twitter going, oh my God, UMG and MLG, they're at like 60, 70, 100,000 views. I mean, I don't see like, oh my God, the numbers went up in unit sales. A bunch of people went out and bought Call of Duty because they want to be MLG Pro. I mean, it's not translating. If it's not translating into sales or people who are on concurrently playing online for you to make money from microtransactions, how does that make sense? I mean, I swear to God, if you are a major shareholder in Activision stocks and you watch this video, Eric Heisberg does not know what's going on as far as Call of Duty is concerned. He does not know what's going on. And all the devs, most of the devs control what's going on. I mean, I would say maybe 1 or 2 devs control all 3 studios' opinions on these games, and they just and they think that social media and the younger audience, the younger people these days have the most influence on Twitter and Facebook and social media. But that doesn't mean that that's all legit. It doesn't mean that they haven't circumvented the system and they're botting and doing what they're doing. And even if it was legit views, it still doesn't translate into the millions who purchase this game and patronize your game. It's just not them that's playing this game. And I'm just making this point. If you're a casual gamer, you don't have to take my word for it. Read the article yourself. And so I want to finish it off. But the game is also built for esports because at the end of the day, it has to be a competitive game. If it's not competitive, that means it's not balanced, which this whole statement is just untrue. That means no one's having fun and it's not going to be around very long. Well, you're not going to be around. Sledgehammer and Deersnore, I'm going to say right now, one of these studios is going to be deleted. You guys, somebody's making cuts somewhere. By next year, 2015-16, somebody's getting cut. Because there's no way that Call of Duty could sustain itself from esports community because they do not support enough in total units sold. Period. And that's the bottom line. If there's no casual community supporting this game, and they're sitting there thinking they're going to be slick, and I'm not here to support esports as far as buying the game and then having them make a shitty game, and then I buy the game, and then they're making a game, a side game, a meta game in the side of my game, so they can do what they want to do. And by no means am I'm sitting here, I hate on it and shit like that. No, if they want to do that, just make a spin-off version. Let them play that. See how many people buy it. Go have fun. Do that. Watch it. Go blast off to the moon with that shit. I don't care. I buy the game to have fun as a casual arcade shooter. I don't want to be supporting that features for me suffering because they want to make a couple changes and then all of a sudden my game changes down a few weeks down the road. I like having fun doing what I'm doing. And this article just states it alone that we're not supporting the majority of people who purchase this game. You are going to be affected by the changes that are pronounced by them. Esports and ELG, ZB, XYZ, I don't give a damn. And like I said, if they want to do their thing, make a spin-off for them. Please, Activision, do yourself a favor. Spin off a complete esports franchise specifically for first-person shooters. Go blast off to the moon with it. I will never buy a copy of that. I don't care to do that. I care to have an arcade shooter that everybody can pick up and just have a social good time with. I don't want to be affected by changes if some little crybaby has because the game was built specifically for everybody, but they want to play a different game that's what's sold on the street. It doesn't make sense to me. You guys are going out of your way to be League of Legends, but you're not League of Legends because you don't play the game that was specifically sold in the way it was bought to be played in the MLG or whatever sports. So that's the main gripe here. You know, I'm a consumer too. I pay for the game. I don't care about anything else. I mean, these guys coming at me with all these different angles saying, you're just mad because of this and that. No, man. I'm not buying this Call of Duty. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm telling everybody else, the other 20 million people who bought this game, you shouldn't buy this game either. The reason why your game gets affected and gets all stupid every single year is because of very minute, insignificant portion of the community makes those decisions. Because they are socially significant, supposedly, allegedly. And because of older developers and CEOs just assume that, hey, that's social media, you should be listening to them. That's the way we should be marketing. That's what you should do now. You shouldn't do NBA ads. It doesn't reach the population. They're not watching TV. So you fall into this unstudied trap of what is going on in the world. They don't understand what the deep intricacies of the bullshit, that the underbelly of the internet and what it does. They just see numbers. They don't understand how that translates and why their numbers keep going. They cannot correlate why the unit sales keep going down, but views keep going up for esports. And they're not making money from that. What's going on? I'm telling you what's going on. In other words, and this is where Mike Rose makes a beautiful, beautiful statement in the end of his interview with Reisdorf or whatever, Dorkydorf. In other words, Sledgehammer believes that working the competitive side of Call of Duty is more firmly into the core of the franchise. Isn't this amazing? Mike Rose is a genius, and his article is a genius because he specifically says it right here. In other words, Sledgehammer doesn't give a shit about the casual community. They believe the core has changed from gun-on-gun gameplay to just benefit esports players. That's fucking powerful and amazing. Sorry to swear. I usually don't swear, but that was amazing. So now I'm going to finish off and say how much more this guy looks like an idiot. The more we can look at it from a competitive side and engage those guys and say, hey, exploit this, break this, show us what's happening. So now they're saying that, oh, we're just going to go to esports guys and, you know, what are they going to exploit? What are they going to show you what's wrong with the game? They're not going to show you what everybody else is doing. These guys play 1 or 2, 3 maps, the same 3 guns, and that's it. And they just play, that's it. They play a couple maps, that's it. I mean, they're not testing what everybody else is out there testing, saying, oh, you know, maybe footsteps and dead silence and camping and the exosuits moving around, and you have to burn a perk, and a camper could just sit there because they cannot get used to their game. It's kind of messed up, and now the guy just sits there and sees the mini map moving around, and now he makes the guy burn a perk, and now the game's not moving, and they're not happy, and it just turns into a big, you know, sitting match. You know, I mean, probably that's even more. I mean, this is going to be a big huge thing. I'll cover that tomorrow, but exploit this, break this, blah, blah, blah. Then we go to, and then because we listen to esports players, we go and fix that and make sure that we're accommodating that so we know that we have solutions to the problems he has to really help everyone to make the game more competitive to everybody. How are you taking just their information and then making the game competitive for everybody? Who says everybody wants to be competitive? Who says everybody who plays Call of Duty wants to be competitive? Where is that at? Man, I mean, are you assuming everybody wants to play that way? I don't want to play 70 hours a week. I don't have no ambition to be an esports player. And make every weapon and combination viable to use, which is a complete lie. Everybody knows who's watching this video knows that only a couple guns are ever used. Nothing from the complete game ever translates over to the competitive side of gaming. Ever. I mean, if you're just saying that you're making it for the esports, then just make it for them. And see how many people of the casual community buy that game. All they did in this game, and that's the end of the article. You can go read it. You listen to this video. You can just, you know, you don't have to look at my face or this video. You just listen to it. All they did was take Black Ops 2 and they developed for 3 years exosuits. That's all they did. It's sad. And that's what I'm going to talk about. I'll cover the rest tomorrow. Until then, until next time, work this piece. I'm out.